Now, continuation from the 133 problem. Now, the axis is inclined to VP at 45 degrees. So here, when this slant triangular face, that is O dash, C dash, D dash, is resting on HP, then the axis, which is O dash, O1 dash, becomes inclined to HP. Since the axis is inclined to HP, so we will going to get the apparent length here. O1 will going to have an apparent length. That means the length of O1 will be less than 50 mm. But the axis inclined to VP, since the axis is inclined to VP, so they have given the true inclination. But what we want to do here in the third position is we need to copy the second position top view here. But in the second position top view, the axis is inclined to HP, so you are having an apparent length. But here is given the true inclination. So from the projections of lines concept, that means always on the true inclination we have to have the true length. So since you have the true inclination line, so you take the true length of the axis. That means when O1 is parallel to VP, so we are getting the true length, that is O dash, O1 dash will have a true length which is equal to the axis length of the pyramid, which is 50 mm. So consider any point on the XY line. By using the protractor, you measure an angle of 45 degree and then draw a line. Then with O as center, take a radius of 45 mm, 50 mm, and cut an arc on that 45 degree line. So we will going to get this point. So from here you draw a horizontal line which is parallel to XY. That will going to be the locus. So that means on that line, the other end of the axis, which is O1, has to form. So then by using the compass, you measure the distance from O to O1 with the same center O, cut an arc on the locus line, so that you will going to get the point O1. Once you get this, so this will going to be the apparent inclination. So you will have join O to O1 with a center line, that is big dash, small dash, big dash. So now once you get O1, then you transfer all these points onto the third position top view on the apparent inclination line. So how to do that? From O1, since you have O1, since O1 to E and O1 to B will be perpendicular to O1 according from the second position top view. So by using the protractor, you measure an angle of 90 degree with respect to O1 line and then draw a perpendicular line with respect to O1. Then by using the compass, you measure the distance from O1 to B and also from O1 to E. Then transfer it on to O1 to B and O1 to E on the third position top view. That means with O1 as center, cut an arc on this side to get this point B. Similarly, with O1 as center, cut an arc on this side to get the point E. Then you measure the distance from O to this point. Then from O, you mark that point here. Then the edge AF is perpendicular to O1. So since you have this point, you measure an angle of 90 degree with respect to O1 by using the protractor and then draw a perpendicular line with respect to O1. Then measure the length from this point to A and also from this point to F. Both will have equal distances, and transfer from this point and cut an arc on this side to get the point A, and similarly cut an arc on this side to get the point F. Similarly, you measure the distance from O to this point, transfer it from O to this side and then extend it O1. Then from here you measure the length from this point to C and also from this point to D. Both will have the same equal distances, and then the extended line intersection point here, from this cut an arc on this side and also cut an arc on this side to get the point C and D. Then complete the third position top view exactly the same as that of the second position top view, including visible and invisible edges, and dark them. Then we need to write the front view. When you want to write the front view, draw a vertical projector from O to the xy line, because O dash is on xy line, so you are going to get the point O dash. Similarly, draw a vertical projector from C and also from D to the xy line, because C dash D dash is on xy line, so you are going to get the point C dash and D dash. Then draw a horizontal projector from B dash, E dash and O1 dash, and draw a vertical projector from B to intersect at B dash, and from O1 to intersect at O1 dash, and from E and intersect at E dash. Then similarly, you draw a horizontal projector from A dash F dash and draw a vertical projector from the point A to intersect at A dash, and from F to intersect at F dash. So name them A dash to B dash, C dash, D dash, E dash, F dash, O1 dash and O. Once you do that, now you join them with a continuous thin lines. Don't draw this. Then join between A dash to B dash, B dash to C dash, then D dash to E dash, E dash to F dash, then join between O dash to A dash, O dash to B dash, O dash to C dash and O dash to D dash is already joined, O dash to E dash and O dash to F dash. Then apply the condition of visibility. How all the exterior edges of the boundaries of the solids are visible. So that means O dash to D dash, D dash to E dash, E dash to F dash, F dash to A dash and A dash to O dash. All the exterior edges of the boundaries of the solids are visible. So when you look from the front view, the hexagonal surface ABCDEFA are the edges which are visible. So here when you look from the front view, that A, B, C, D, E, F all are near to the observer, so it becomes visible. So you can see O is here and O1 is near to the observer, so the surface is visible. So here join between C dash to B dash and B dash to A dash with a continuous line. So you are going to get this visible. So then we are left out with O dash B dash, O dash F dash and O dash A dash. You can see here, when you join O dash F dash with a continuous line and O dash F dash is a thin continuous line, since B dash C dash is a dark line, that means it is a visible edge. So this thin line is crossing this thin continuous line, is crossing the thick continuous edge. So that means two visible edges can never cross each other. So since this is a dark line which is a visible edge, so this is a thin line. Suppose if you want to dark this, then the conditions will not allow, because the two visible edges can never cross each other. So naturally this O dash F dash will has to become invisible. Similarly, O dash E dash also, it has to become invisible. Next is the left out is only B dash O dash. Since B dash is not on the boundary, from the point B dash, we have three edges which is emanating out from that point B dash, which are B dash C dash, B dash A dash and B dash O dash. So already B dash C dash and B dash A dash is visible. From a point, if one of the edges is visible or invisible, then the corresponding then all other edges emanating from that point will be visible or invisible. So applying that rule, since B dash C dash and B dash A dash is visible, so naturally B dash O dash is visible. Since A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, E dash and F dash, which is an hexagonal surface which is completely visible, since O1 dash is on that surface, so obviously then O1 dash will be visible. Join between O dash to O1 dash with a big dash and small dash with a center line. So now this is the final position of the hexagonal pyramid. When you look in the third position, it will going to look like, and this is when you look from the top view, we will going to look this, it will be like this, and when you look from the front view, it will be like this. So this view and this view is the same as this and this. Okay. Now finally, when we want to analyze in the final position after this, this is the exact view what we have to write in the examination. So a hexagonal pyramid of 25 mm sides of base and axis length 50 mm rests on one of its slant triangular faces, such that the axis is inclined to VP at 45 degrees. Since we have satisfied all the conditions, hence the problem is right. Thank you.